Mike Pisani. He's the CEO of SmartOptionTrading.com for a look at a couple that are on his radar to start the week off. Mike, it's good to have you with us here today on Midday Movers. It looks like Wynn is leading to the upside, well, the NASDAQ at least to the upside today. Caught your eye, it looks like. Mike, is this on news of a higher Macau gaming revenue?
Hey, Ben. Nice to be back with you again. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a perfect storm for the casinos today. You had the China sensation of hostilities, and there's been a lot of worry about retaliation against the casinos. And then you had the Macau numbers, which were up 5.9% year over year. This was the second month in a row the numbers have been higher. And believe it or not, after a long, drawn-out last 6 months, we're almost back to even on the year, back to where we knew should be on the Macau numbers. So you're starting to see some strength coming back into the Chinese gaming market, which is really made up of big VIP rollers, and that's where these casinos make a lot of their money off of that.
Yeah,
so that was kind of perfect today.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we also started seeing hints of this last week. They started buying calls in Wynn last week, LVS, and then specifically the MGM September 30s. They bought them big last week coming into this Macau number. So there were some people out there that had a big idea that this could be a good week for the casinos, or at least a good Monday morning. How's that?
Yeah, I was looking at Wynn, the gap up, and I actually took a step ahead here. I pulled up LVS, Sands, Las Vegas Sands. I'm noticing a very similar structural position here. I mean, both of these stocks, again, gapped up, and for the most part, it looks like they're, well, in the middle of to the upper extreme or near the upper extreme of the range that they've been in for the most part all year.
Yeah, they have. In fact, if you look at Wynn and LVS, they're kind of coming back towards their April highs. That was the last time we had good China news, right, on the trade front. And if they can't get through that, I think Wynn's is up at 150. That could be a sign that nobody's quite ready to believe this China news yet, because they've been a big play on China. MGM's actually back a little bit more. They were the first name to break down in April 2018. So, they've been on a long way, and they got a big gap up at 3250 to fill if it can ever get itself back up to there. One more note on Wynn. There was a big player today, rolled his September 120 calls to September 140, stayed with it, same size. So you're seeing some bullish buying coming into these names. They've been beat up now for over a year. They've been at the center of the trade war. So they're good names to watch to see how the market feels about what's going on and how it's reading the news between Trump and Xi. So
I just looked at MGM. They're holding near the highs for the year, but talk to me. I'm curious, Mike, when you see a move like this or a range-bound type price activity like this, I'd imagine there's some option strategies that one could use to either take advantage of an opinion that they're going to stay in this range or an opinion that they're going to break out of this range. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you'd be looking at if you had that opinion?
Sure. So last week, if I had wanted to be in MGM, I would have probably followed that guy into the big player into the September 30s, right? And then when we got up to this area now, I would be taking profits, maybe leaving a runner on, letting a couple go, but taking a lot of them off, and maybe converting it into a spread. So maybe selling the 32s or 3250s of September against it to reduce my risk profile at that point on the name. If you're long common stock, you can just sell some of these calls against it, because you're right, we're at resistance. We failed here how many times? And it's summer, right? We generally don't get big moves on names during summer unless it's an earnings-related move or some big news event. Typically, we tend to go sideways. So I would be more inclined to sell premium if I was the owner of the stock here, and then see if we actually get the news we're looking for.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA, because the last week or so there's been a lot of talk about some of the production numbers. What are you seeing there in terms of the stock? I saw the move up today, currently trading up around 1.5%, around 226.
Last week they started loading for bear on Tesla. There were some big buyers coming in, $1 million bets at a time, and we were expecting delivery numbers last night. Elon's been touting that this is going to be the biggest quarter for deliveries ever, but those numbers didn't come in last night.
Yeah.
So everybody's sitting here right now going, okay, what does that mean? And for me, I'm guessing if the numbers were good, he would have released them last night. That means he's probably still trying to scrape enough numbers together to get to that, to that record-setting delivery. And this name has been stuck. The 50-day moving average right now is around 223. It gapped over today. For the last 6 months, it has not been able to cross above that except for brief little instances, and it pulls back. And last I saw, it was almost back to it. It's come way back down today. And again, the put sweepers today came roaring back into it, the 180s. They're seeing in the 212.50s. Even somebody, I think, almost 10,000 in the August 50 puts. So you're seeing the bears come back in here. And, this is a name you either love Elon or you hate Elon, right? There seems to be very little in between. So if you're a believer in him, you think his numbers would be great. And if this stock is great, you're looking at 255 maybe as your next resistance, then 275 and 285 is where the 200 day is. And you can see a huge move because this name still has a massive amount of shorts interest in it. And you can see the shorts have been pressing. Ever since we went and hit that 180 low back about a month ago, the shorts are coming back in here. They're pressing on it again. And if they don't deliver, then you may see a move back down to that 180 or lower. For me, I find it hard at this point to track Elon because he says so many things and some of it's real, some of it's not. I'll wait for the news and then take it after that.
Yeah, not uncommon to hear lofty and very optimistic numbers from him, and unfortunately they don't always come through, and that's probably what we're seeing in terms of investor sentiment, some of the short-sighted activity as you mentioned. Mike, really appreciate you joining us. We'll keep an eye on Tesla, that 180 to 255 area, the range that you're talking about there, and if above 255, it sounds like 275 and 285 are the next hurdles. Traders, that's Mike Pisani. He's the CEO of SmartOptionTrading.com.